Anastasia, and for Benjamin it was quite a challenge to pronounce it. So in my team and at company, everybody calls me Anna, because it's shorter version. And yeah, I'm front-end developer at Booking.com. And I'm a person who is passionate about testing. And people might say that testing is boring. Well, maybe it is. But I do appreciate automated testing because I'm a lazy person. I like if there are some tools which can do your job for you, I like to use it. I don't want to do it on my own. But also, I'm the person who is passionate about the code quality, and I'm trying to promote the culture of software quality when I talk to the people everywhere I can. And that's why I'm going to talk about testing, and content of this talk is committed to the developers who are the same as me, who care about the code quality. But for those who don't know what is end-to-end testing and why we should do it, I'll spend 2 minutes. So end-to-end testing, it's basically automating a browser to check if application is working as intended from the end user experience. And why we should do so? To stop doing, oh, yeah. Guys, I'll get back to disclaimer a little bit later. That's what is automated testing. And we should do it because then we do less manual testing. Then we will be safe, feel safe to code and deploy our code to production. And also, we will find bugs effortlessly. And before I'm going to dive in technical details, I'd like to give a disclaimer. All the information, all the content I'm going to share, it's my own experience, it's my opinion. I don't insist it's the only one source of truth. You can always make your own decision. Like, don't put your blame on me if I tell you something. That's what I think it's true, and I am honest with you. Okay. Agenda is going to be like this. I'm going to talk about the types of end-to-end testing tools, talk about history of Selenium, Cyprus, Testcafe, Puppeteer, Tycho, and reveal the best solution for end-to-end testing, which is not on the list. Okay. When I started working on the content, I found out that I can split all the end-to-end testing solution into 2 buckets. It's a monthly paid subscription and open source. And I'm not going to talk about monthly paid subscription solutions because do I look like a billionaire? I don't want to pay for a black box. I want to use the tool and then decide if I'm going to use it or not. Like demo, it's not enough for me. And there is a lot of different solutions, like even more. But I'm going to talk about open source solutions. And when you think about open source solutions, you might think, yeah, there is a lot of them, a lot. But when you look under the hood, there are several groups. So there is a huge bucket which is using WebDriver. There are some solutions which are using native browser protocols. There is Cyprus, which is completely different. And there is Testcafe, which is using URL rewriting proxy. Before running for the future, let's take a quick look on the history of front-end testing. Because when I think about it, Selenium is already legacy, but it was developed in 2004 by ThoughtWorks. And it worked like this. There was a Selenium remote control server, which received your test script, executes, then injects the JavaScript to the browser, and work with the browser inside, and then report back the result. In 3 years, WebDriver was developed, and that was a breaking point of the Selenium, because it changed architecture a lot. And this solution was the most popular during long 8 years. But I think it wasn't the best solution. And that is why, a little bit later, like 8 years later, in 2015, Cyprus appeared. Cyprus is an alternative to WebDriver. And I'm going to tell you why it can be better than WebDriver. Overall, Cyprus is a really nice tool. Like, there is a lot of documentation about API, etc. There are videos. You can check the instruction. Everything is clear when you start with Cyprus. It's easy to install and easy to start with. You need several minutes to go with Cyprus. It contains Electron application. And when you choose a test file from the list in this application, it will open it in the browser. Here, your application will be built in iframe on the right. And on the left, you will see the list of the actions which were executed in your test suite, one by one. From this point, you might already think that there's a lot of possibility of debugging, as long as it tests the application itself and Cyprus runs inside your app. You can use a debugger. Also, there's possibility to do screenshots and videos, highlight elements. You can highlight every single action in the list and see how your application was changing due to this action. But after all of these good things, I don't find Cyprus is a tool for end-to-end testing, because they claim the best fit of Cyprus is using it when your applications are in development. But like, dude, do you try to promote a TDD culture in end-to-end testing? That's not cool. It's not end-to-end testing itself. End-to-end testing, it's testing the system which is ready, not under development. You cannot use it for cross-browser testing. You cannot use it for cross-domain testing. If you have another domain for logging in your application, you just cannot use it. And there is a lot of hype about Cyprus. They say that they are better than WebDriver. And I don't understand why the freedom to choose tools is worse than having all-in-one solution. Like, I think it depends. It can be better, it can be worse. I like to choose my own tools, and I like the freedom to be developer and decide what I want to use, which test runner or assertion library. Like, they say, yeah, until WebDriver was bad, and now we have the better solution. I don't find Cyprus is better than WebDriver. But there are a lot of people who think so. And you might think that I say some bad things about Cyprus, but I appreciate Cyprus because it's an alternative for WebDriver. And another alternative for WebDriver, which was born in 2015, is Testcafe. Testcafe is a good all-in-one solution for end-to-end testing because it uses URL rewriting proxy. And I'd like to show you how it works. So basically, Testcafe, it's a man in the middle between browser and server. It can rewrite headers, let you emulate all the user actions in the browser. It can be run on other remote devices. And that's the power of Testcafe. But with all of this power comes a disadvantage. Like, yeah, all of these advantages are for Testcafe. But after all, I wouldn't recommend you use Testcafe if you care about performance. I ran the test set of 20 tests, and it passed in almost 40 seconds. I ran it in parallel. So with Testcafe, it's possible to open multiple instances of browsers and run tests on each. It took almost 40 seconds. You might say, wait, but I think it's a good performance. Well, it's not, because there are tools where I can run the same test set for 10 seconds. Testcafe is a powerful tool if you want to test on different devices or different browsers, if you need easier setup and kickstart end-to-end testing in your application, but it's not performant. That's why I wouldn't recommend it. If you do care about performance, you can go with Puppeteer. And Puppeteer is a browser controller tool which was developed by Chrome DevTools team. And the major difference between Puppeteer and Testcafe and Cyprus, it's not all-in-one solution. It's just a tool to control browser. Major difference from WebDriver, it uses native browser protocols. Like, architecture is simple as it follows. There is nothing between Puppeteer and browser. You are using native browser protocol to talk to browser to communicate and do everything. And that's why there is less points where something can go wrong or break. Also, it's future-proof because it's not all-in-one solution, and I find it's an advantage. You can use any test runner you want, and also you can switch if you, like, you go with Jest, at some point you decide to switch your test runner, you can do it. Puppeteer is just a tool control browser. And it's all async await. You can write neat code, but I cannot say that it will be always like this, because the way your code looks like depends on your coding style. But Puppeteer gives you an opportunity to make your code neat. With all of these advantages and after all of these difference, I must say I would not recommend you to use Puppeteer because it's not a tool for cross-browser testing. You can test only Chrome for now. And same thing about Tycho. Tycho is another browser controlling tool. I want to talk about it because it was developed by ThoughtWorks. It's the same company who introduced Selenium in 2004. And Tycho uses same browser protocol, from DevTools protocol. And from my opinion, there are two major differences between Tycho and Puppeteer. First, you can use REPL. You can write your code of the test in the command line, then you can save the output. And another thing is smart selectors, which is actually bad, I think. If you do A/B testing in your company and you change content often, then it doesn't make sense because you will use this selector, you will change the content in the meantime, your test will fail, you have to change it or you have to change your content. No, not cool. Yep. Guys, I think I'm telling only about bad things. Like, this is bad, this tool is bad, Cyprus is bad, Puppeteer is bad, and Tycho is bad, and you might ask, is there any good tool? Well, that's it. Good tool is Playwright, because Playwright is basically Puppeteer on steroids. It's a tool which you can use for cross-browser testing, and they don't even have a logo. It was developed in the end of November in 2019. I prepared this logo myself. But it's actually, yeah, it's the way, I show you the way it works. And with Playwright, you can control Chrome family browsers and WebKit, as well as Firefox. Also, I'd like to mention that it was developed by the same people who introduced Puppeteer in Chrome, but it was developed in Microsoft. I personally think that Puppeteer is a tool which is trying to promote Google Chrome browser. So we will support only Google Chrome. I don't care about the rest. But it's not the way you introduce tools, right? Playwright is a tool for cross-browser testing. It's modern, and that's the tool I am personally going to use in my project. If you install just Playwright preset, you can, in configuration, define browsers you want to use. Then you write only one test suite, and it will be executed in each of the browsers in parallel. And then it takes like 10 seconds for execute 20 tests parallel in different browsers. That's what I find good performance. Like, probably in the future there will be tools which are even better, but for now, that's the best I found. Like, you might think that Playwright is super modern, fresh, green, and you don't want to use it. Well, in this case, if you do need cross-browser testing, go with WebDriver. It's old, it's mature, there are a lot of problems which you might face, but I would recommend it. And if you want to have a nice developer experience, go with Cyprus, because it's used for development. And if you don't care about other browsers except Chrome, then go with Puppeteer or Tycho. But if you are ready, you're ready to take the risk and you want a modern tool which is performant, which you can use for cross-browser testing, and you don't care about challenges, then go with Puppeteer. Puppeteer, guys. Playwright. Don't go with Puppeteer. It's only for Chrome. It's only for Chrome. Playwright is for, for cross-browser testing. I think we're going to an end. And I'd just like to resume that the WebDriver, it's a still major solution. It's a good solution. It's competitive. But in the meantime, alternative solutions were born, and I'd like to empower and motivate you to use it in your daily job. And also, if you want to make a decision, you do have to prepare your objective. You should understand the things you care about. Do you need cross-browser testing? Do you care about the performance? Do you think about the debugging, maintaining? Do you need the easier setup, or do you want to configure everything? To find a solution, you have to prepare your problem. And if you don't have a clear vision in this set, you're screwed. You're screwed. Yeah. And that's what it is. That's what it. Thank you much. Thank you. Oh, before coming off the stage, I'd like to share my personal motto with you. I always say that the time is the most valuable resource you have, and testing helps you save your time. If it does, implement it into your delivery process. There are a lot of tools which can help you, and if you use them, I think you are all good. And your developer experience and career will make you a happy person. Thank you much. Thank you for your time.